Hello, you are listening to the OmniTalk Fast 5, brought to you in partnership with the A&M Consumer and Retail Group, Firework, SPS Commerce, and Sezzle.
Headline number 2, convenience store chain Enerbase, that's a fun one, and a first-time call-out on the Fast 5, I might add, Ann,
Yes.
is piloting Amazon One Palm Payments at, you guessed it, Ann, 3 stores in North Dakota. Why not?
Did not guess North Dakota.
According to Payments Dive, through an Amazon spokesperson, the stores are the first traditional convenience stores to try the Palm Pay technology, which I did not know. I didn't realize they were the first convenience stores to try Palm Pay. Up until now, Palm Pay had been mainly tried within airports, sporting arenas, and within Amazon's own stores themselves. The tech will be deployed at Enerbase's Corner Express, North Broadway, and Travel Plaza locations, all in Minot, North Dakota. And
yes,
I have 2 questions for you. This is a 2-parter. You get a 2-parter here on this
God.
fine Thursday morning. One, my first question is this a sign that I can't say Palm Payment today.
I know.
That Palm Payment is about to cross a chasm of user adoption? And my second question is actually an interesting what's next for this from A&M. So I'm going to hold that to put you on the spot after you answer the first one. So what are your thoughts on the first one?
Well, first of all, I'm really glad that you brought this story to the Fast 5. This was not on my initial list, but I'm so thrilled that you did because it's the first convenience store chain. But I also think that it's applications like these in Minot, North Dakota, in the center of the country, that are really going to start to help with mass adoption of this as a payment platform. And I think it's also going to continue to be kind of the gateway drug into Amazon's other technology. Enerbase doesn't have as much concern competitively with Amazon as some of the other retailers, I don't think. So I think this could be like, see how adoption goes with your consumers there, but then it could open up to cashierless checkout, especially in those more rural areas where you have trouble staffing some of your convenience stores.
And that's actually a great point. Before we get to the second question, you actually have to wonder now at this point, is Amazon just better off licensing the technology for Go than even trying to do any of their stores themselves, which is a topic we haven't really talked about on this show. It's a great point.
The other thing I would just say, too, about this is that before you get all like, they're going to put a tracker in my ass kind of comment about
the Chicago airport
the Palm Payment thing. This is not the only payment option.
Right.
This is just another payment option, which I think is smart to do so you don't get people freaked out. They can still have their normal experience, but you have this extremely convenient option, especially when you're on a major freeway like you are in North Dakota, and to be able to just, be a trucker and go in and scan out if you want.
Great point. So yes, you think this could be the sign that we're crossing the chasm with this technology as a form of payment.
Yes, absolutely.
I tend to agree with you, but I'll hold my thoughts until I give you the second part of your 2-part question today, Ann. All right, the second part is the A&M put you on the spot question, and here it is. We will likely continue to debate the balance between an improved customer experience versus the potential loss of checkout sales by implementing technology like Amazon One for a while, especially in C-stores. Beyond that, what opportunities does it afford retailers and CPGs down the road when you start to know who a customer is, potentially the moment they walk in the store, Ann?
Yeah, I think this is a really important thing to call out. And one of my it brought to mind one of the conversations that I'll be having on stage with Tracy Clements. She's the CEO of BP.
Oh, cool.
In Europe. And one of the things that we were talking about, especially she was talking about they have a big EV push right now. So creating stations and really reimagining what the convenience store and gas or not gas EV recharging experience is going to look like. And the way that she was talking about it is actually that they're focused so much on the upfront part of connecting with the customer. So enhancing the consumer app, because it's going to be much more about like, I'm going to be going to that store. I see a fueling station or an EV charging station that's on my way. So it's tying everything, loyalty, payment, all these other like reservation apps, other things that are going to be in that customer experience, so that you as a CPG or as a retailer can start targeting promotions. You can start getting to that consumer, knowing who that consumer is, what their history has been, to serve up a completely personalized experience. And I think that's where things like this are going. When you know who they are before they get into your store, that experience becomes uniquely theirs and develops continued loyalty or drive to your store versus another.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. People are going to be upset that we're agreeing so much on this show. Hopefully we find some points of disagreement here. But yeah, no, I love it too, Ann. I mean, I I think the point that comes back to me on the crossing the chasm point, and then I'll get to the A&M question, is it's something you brought up to me, like, I think it was like on a show a month or two ago, where you're like, it's better than Apple Pay.
Mm-hmm.
It's simpler, it's easier to use. So I think that's essentially what we're looking at. So you got the point where this is just a better option. And so when a convenience store chain in freaking North Dakota, Minot, North Dakota, gives this a go, just like Apple Pay and just like the Starbucks app before that. Remember, when we were talking about that before, everyone was really on board with that, and people were still surprised when we'd use it in a Starbucks. Like, I think this shows us this thing is coming now.
Mm-hmm.
And the crazy thing about this, and I can't wait for it, but the crazy thing about this too is, like, that means a whole nother revenue stream for Amazon.
Right.
They're in payments across the country.
Yep.
Which is not something we've really talked about on this show to that degree, I think, either. And not something the audience is probably really also thinking about. So, like, that's another great step to augment your business model.
Payments and consumer information.
Well, that's a second point.
Like history,
Yes, that's a second point. So to get to the A&M question, I'm not sure actually how much pre-shopper knowledge there is in this tech, as it's constituted and as we just described it as a substitute for Apple Pay. Because for that you have to require more than you have to require a scan when you enter, or you have to have computer vision installed. So there's more to it to get to that. But I think right now it's just a simpler way to pay. But all the eventual loyalty tie-ins with, like we saw with Prime potentially in the Panera example a month or two ago as well.
Yeah.
That's the value for CPGs here.
Right.
Enhancing the return on investment in the right placement of their media against the correlated data that they're going to get from this type of experience, as opposed to just knowing who I am when I walk in.
Right.
Like, that to me is far more valuable here in the long run than the pre-knowledge of who I am as a consumer.
Absolutely.
That's how I'd answer that question.
100%.